Good evening. Hi, welcome to our regular board meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023, and this serves as our first school board meeting of the 2023-2024 school year. So welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had a great summer. I know the administration and the team here, particularly the facilities team working on all the summer projects, had an incredibly busy and productive summer getting everything ready for the school year, and the schools are looking great, grounds are looking great, so thank you guys for getting us set up for success. So with that, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now for a reading of the mission statement, I'll turn it over to Ms. Lipinski.
All right. The mission of the School District of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high-achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community.
Thank you. Roll call. Ms. Green.
Mr. Needleman.
Here.
Mr. DeFranco.
Here.
Dr. Etlin.
Here.
Mrs. Green.
Here.
Mrs. Hubley.
Here.
Mrs. Hughes.
Here.
Mrs. Slapinski.
Here.
Dr. Taratusky.
Here.
Mr. Bedard.
Here. And just one announcement this evening. The board, at its discretion, may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations set forth in Policy 006, meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoon following each board meeting. And now let's head right into our reports and information. We'll turn it over to our superintendent, Dr. Yannicone.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. We've had a very busy summer in the district, and we are excited for this new year, which has really already begun with our fall athletic programs at the high school and the welcome of new professional staff yesterday for induction. In our summer programs, we hosted a terrific program in the extended school year in the month of July and early August. We'd like to thank our coordinators, Nicole Schrage and Allie Proto, for all of their work, and our teachers and staff who worked with our students all summer long. We'd also like to thank our transportation department and director, Nate Bray, who has worked all summer to transport those students to their summer programs. I also want to recognize and thank our high school administration for a summer workshop presentation we were honored to be invited to share this summer. A few weeks ago, our high school team presented at the Pennsylvania Secondary School Principals Conference on our transition to a lunch and learn model and our equity plan for supporting students at the high school level. I also want to congratulate Assistant Principal Pierre LaRocco, who has been tapped to serve as an at-large board member for diversity with the Pennsylvania Principals Association this year. And I'd like to congratulate our middle school principal, Zach Fuller, on the achievement of his doctorate from Gwynedd Mercy this month. We are pleased that Dr. Fuller was able to complete his research focused on the impact of principal behavior on classroom management, instructional outcomes, and student engagement. So it was a busy summer for our secondary administrators as well. At the high school, the fall sports season is well underway with all fall high school teams in their second week of practices. I think tonight we had our first soccer games. We want to recognize the hard work of our maintenance and grounds crews under Mr. Thorne's leadership in ensuring that our high school fields and facilities were ready for the season on time and in great shape. For the parents who are paying attention to this board meeting, our school year begins on Tuesday, September 5th for all district students. The district calendar is posted on our website and can be accessed in the quick links section. We also have a comprehensive district calendar of events available under the same tab, which includes every event for students and families across the 4 schools for the entire school year. Families received their opening letters from principals last Thursday, August 17th, and detailed information was shared with any questions being directed to our principals. And that's gone very well over this first week. I also want to recognize and welcome our new student representative, Nia Kennedy. She is a junior at Springfield Township High School, And as I said just before the meeting to a few members of the board, this was a competitive process this year. We had 4 applicants for this new role, and Nia absolutely rose to the top of that list. So we're really happy that she is able to be with us this school year. Nia will be very dedicated to our school community. She was extremely well prepared for our interview, and she will be gathering student updates each month and joining us at our regular meetings. And as I've shared with Nia, I know the board really wants to hear student voice, and so you can feel free when opportunities arise to share your position. In addition, we've decided, Dr. Johnston and I discussed how well our student representatives have been going the last 2 years, and so we thought we would add student representatives to both academic affairs and the property committee, because we did have a strong pool of applicants for the board rep. So Ronan Kalina, Olivia Tao, and Chase Rubenkamp will be joining us at our committee meetings this year. Ronan and Olivia will attend academic affairs, and Chase will attend property committee meetings. He has a real interest in the facilities plans, and in particular would love to be involved in our middle school project planning. All 4 reps are excellent examples of the dedicated students we're very fortunate to have at the high school. So Nia, once again, welcome. I'll give you a little bit of highlights on our agenda tonight. In personnel, hiring season has been really busy. You'll see in the agenda we have an 11-page personnel agenda. There's plenty of hiring going on tonight. I want to thank our administrators who've worked diligently to staff their buildings, and we are fully staffed in all professional roles as of this evening once you approve that personnel agenda. We still have a few support positions and bus drivers whose hiring is in process or are open for September. And so we're happy to take continued applications from interested candidates, both in instructional aides and in school bus drivers. And I want to personally thank Ms. Kerr, who's here this evening, our Director of Human Resources, who has been processing all of those interviews and hiring well beyond those 11 pages. It's a lot of time over the summer to get us fully staffed. And as we discussed today, we are in a stronger position than we were in a year ago, despite the fact that we hear nationwide of the shortages that are occurring. So we're very grateful to be in a district where people want to come and work. In the academic affairs agenda, you'll see we have a number of annual contracts. These are contracts for student placements. We have some agreements for your review, as well as the updated health and safety plan under the academic affairs tab. Because we are continuing to receive ARP ESSER dollars through their grant program at the federal level, we must continue to have a health and safety plan through the end of the next summer. And so you'll see the plan hasn't changed since last year. Those infected with COVID-19 can return to work or school after 5 days. We'll encourage good personal hygiene. We'll continue to clean and sanitize and follow all recommended guidance from the CDC. You'll also see on there 2 other items under academic affairs. We have a revised contract with Carson Valley. I want to thank Mr. Gilsbach, who's here with us this evening from Fox Rothschild, who's worked really hard on this revised agreement with Carson Valley. It is excellent, and we're really happy for the work you've done. And then finally, in academic affairs, it's the first agenda under academic affairs, but we have a proposal for a field trip, international trip to the Galapagos Islands next June that our biology department would like to lead. And so that's up for your consideration this evening. Under policy, you've got the second readings of policies 137.2 and .3, which are those policies related to new guidelines to provide access for families who homeschool their children during the school day. And then under property, we have 1 motion for a change order for the middle school athletic fields project that you can see on the other side of this building. We'd like to add a long jump runway and pit and new goalposts for the football field. Initially, these were additions we thought we'd have to wait till next summer to complete, but we're ahead of schedule, and we are under budget per the original property committee discussions. So we feel like we can get these done in the next few weeks, and that'll really give some advantage both to the fall football team at the middle school and to our track and field programs this winter and spring. And then finally, under finance, the state budget impasse, and I really want to compliment Ms. Green and her team. The state budget impasse this summer did not impact the district at all because we have a very strong financial health And so we were able to cover in that month where there was a delay in payments from the state to school districts. So you didn't hear anything from me because Ms. Green had that handled. Governor Shapiro recently signed House Bill 611 with the $45.5 billion budget on August 3rd. And some highlights for that for us, our basic education funding increased just under $200,000. Our special education funding increased by about $26,000. And the Ready to Learn block grant, even though the state increased it by $7.5 million, we have no change in our allocation. But we are looking forward to making good use of those funds. The other two big changes from the budget is that they are extending universal free breakfast, which we're really happy for our families. And they have decided that all students who are identified as eligible for reduced price lunches will join those who qualify for free lunch in having no payment for their meal. So normally they would be charged 40 cents per lunch, but they're going to have that lunch for free. So we're very happy that the state agreed that that was a good idea for students. And then just one spotlight for you. I want to highlight our summer projects. I want to thank Mr. Thorne and our technology staff. Today is Mr. Lutz's second day on the job as the new technology director, but his tech staff have done an outstanding job all summer with and without his guidance, and sometimes with my guidance, God help them, in technology movement. So I want to thank those teams. Just a few things. Our new cleaning company has been deep cleaning all of our buildings. We're in pretty good shape. We have a new food services company, Chartwells. They are on board. They've transitioned their management team. They've conducted training, and we're excited for their new leadership. As I mentioned, the HR department is completing all hiring this summer. The technology department has upgraded all systems, cleaned and reassigned all devices for students that were turned in June, and they've put together 660 new Chromebooks for students at Erdenheim, which was no small feat. They did that in 2 days, which is pretty impressive. We have a new television studio at Erdenheim for student broadcasts, and 2 new classrooms for our elementary strings program have been completed at Erdenheim. We have a new esports classroom and club center at the high school. And the Strathaven High School stage has been replaced and painted, and we've added a tech-ready podium there. And right here to my right, you have a new curtain on the stage in the Audion and a tech-ready podium, which we didn't need tonight, but in the future, we have it ready to go. It's right on the other side of that curtain. We also had the roofing replacement along the main academic wing of the high school. That is being completed. They were actually laying grass seed today and getting their equipment out of the back parking lot. And we have a new pool sound system completed, due to be completed this September. It's partway done, and we're going to finish that up in the next month. And then the multi-purpose field at the middle school is absolutely finished, ready to go, and we'll be taking down the fencing in about a week. We're trying to hold on to make sure it's in good shape for our middle school field hockey team. We're going to have a new rubberized track surface at the middle school. That will be done in September, and the high school library furniture will also be completed in September. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we've had a really busy summer, but a successful summer. I want to thank our whole administrative team. They've worked really hard to make sure that things have moved in a positive direction, and I appreciate all of your support this summer as well. And that concludes my report.
Excellent. Any comments or questions for Dr. Yanicom? Yeah, on behalf of the board, I'll just take the opportunity to repeat what I said at the beginning of this meeting, which was, wow, what an incredible summer. I gave compliments at the beginning of the meeting without even going through that comprehensive list. So it's very impressive what the team has pulled off to get us ready for the school year, so thank you. Okay, now we will go into what I will affectionately call our back-to-school public comments on agenda items. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Needleman.
We'll open it up to anyone who has a comment on an agenda item this evening. I don't see that anyone has signed up to speak in person, so I'll ask if anyone who's joining us online wishes to speak to please raise their hand. At this time, too, I want to remind folks we do have a 3-minute time limit for comments, and I'll ask if you do want to make a comment, just let us know where you live in the township, in the district. And I don't see any hands raised either. Mine.
All right, thank you, Mr. Needleman. We are going to move into what is a very challenging part of the agenda, approval of past meeting minutes. So let's start with item 1, approval of minutes from our June 6, 2023 meeting. The recommended action is the Board of School Directors approves the board minutes from June 6, 2023, our interim board meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Any comments or questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. Item 2, approval of minutes from June 20th, 2023. The recommended action is the Board of School Directors approves the board minutes from June 20th, 2023. This was our regular board meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Any comments or questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. Now, moving on to our treasurer's report. The Board of School Directors approves the June 30th, 2023 treasurer's report per the attachment June treasurer's report final. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're good on the treasurer's report. Next item is approval of the treasurer's report from the month ended July 31st, 2023. The Board of School Directors approves the July 31st, 2023 treasurer's report. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
I'll take the second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. On to human resources, and this was the significant personnel file that Dr. Yannicone referenced. Give me a minute to read through the recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment: administrative personnel, confidential personnel, certified personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities 2023-2024, and conference workshop attendance. Is there a motion? And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of passing the personnel file, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations to the new hires. Next, under Human Resources, we have Delta T Group Incorporated. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the addendum to our contract with Delta T Group, Inc. for an updated rate sheet effective July 1st, 2023. Details in the attachment. Is there a motion? And a second? Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that will pass. Next, under HR, we have performance incentive payment. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves a performance incentive payment to Dr. Mary Jo Yannicone in the amount of $4,000, less all legally required withholdings, to be paid in one lump sum and not to be included in her salary for the successful accomplishment of her established objective performance standards for the 2022-2023 school year. Is there a motion? And a second? Any comments or questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Dr. Yannicone. And I will take the opportunity to just say it was an exceptional performance year. The objective performance goals are always published, and in this past year, the administrative team not only met but exceeded several, but met all of those objective performance standards in what is, like all years, a year of twists and turns. So congratulations on that performance, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Right, on to academic affairs. As discussed in the opening, proposed high school international trip. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves an international trip through EF Tours, a travel agency specializing in cultural student trips for School District of Springfield Township students to the Galapagos Islands from June 20th to June 28th, 2024, with details in the attachment. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? I think it would be helpful just for re-education as we go back into the new year, if you could remind us of how the funding for a trip like this would actually impact folks.
Sure. So these trips are paid by the students and their families. And if they need assistance, they can make a request for that, but these are wholly self-funded trips.
Excellent. And there's no, this wouldn't be tied to any academic performance. This is in addition to the academics of the class as an extracurricular.
That's correct. Yes. Each summer, we try to offer several international trips to families in the community. And those who are interested get an education about what's going to happen on the trip, and they have meetings throughout the year to try to get prepared. They are chaperoned by members of our teaching staff. And hopefully they're really positive experiences for our students.
Awesome. Well, this sounds like an incredible opportunity. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the Galapagos Island trip will pass. Our next subject is New Hope Academy 2023 Extended School Year Contract. Board of School Directors approves the 2023 Extended School Year Contract with New Hope Academy for student number 2023-0822-01 for the 2023 Extended School Year Program for a total cost of $6,555. Is there a motion? Thank you. And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we will keep moving. We have a second New Hope Academy. The recommended action here is the Board of School Directors approves the tuition contracts with New Hope Academy for the 2023-2024 school year for students numbers 2023-0822-02, number 202-30822-03, and 2023-0822-04 in the amount of $40,900 each. Is there a motion? And a second? Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That will pass. Next, a student settlement agreement. The recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the student settlement agreement for student 2023-0822-05 per the attachment. Is there a motion? Motion. Thank you. In a second? Second. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the settlement agreement, say aye. 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 Any opposed? That will pass. Our next subject, next is 2023-2024 school year tuition contract. The recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the tuition contract between Springfield School District and the Nexus School for the 2023-2024 school year for student number 2023-0822-06 in the amount of $122,650. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That will pass. UHS of Doylestown DBA Foundations Behavioral Health Agreement. The recommended action here is the Board of School Directors approves the agreement with UHS of Doylestown, doing business as Foundations Behavioral Health, for services as needed for students at the LifeWorks School from August 28th, 2023 through August 12th, 2024, per the cost reflected in Appendix A. Is there a motion? And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. Subject number 7, Cristaldo Associates. The recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves an agreement between Cristaldo Associates Incorporated and the Springfield Township School District to provide translation services from September 15th, 2023 through September 15th, 2024 for the attached. Is there a motion? Good, and a second? Thank you. Any comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. Moving on to number 8, Health and Safety Plan. The recommended action is the Board of School Directors approves the 2023-2024 Springfield Township School District Health and Safety Plan per the attachment. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Health and Safety Plan is good to go to start the year. Subject number 9, Carson Valley Children's Aid. The recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the agreement between the district and Carson Valley Children's Aid, subject to approval and execution of the same by an authorized representative of Carson Valley Children's Aid. Is there a motion? And a second? Thank you. Any comments or questions? Very good. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, we can move the contract on to Carson Valley. Our next subject, our first policies to be looked at in the new year. Under our policy agenda, we have just one item. And the recommended action here is the Board of School Directors approves the second reading of the following 100 level new policies as recommended. Policy 137.2, participation in co-curricular activities and academic courses by home education students. And policy 137.3, participation in career and technical education programs by home education students. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Policies will pass. Under property, we just have one item, which is the change order that we talked about before. This is Schlau Incorporated. The recommended action is the Board of School Directors approves change order GCCO 001 for Schlau Incorporated in the amount of $95,533 for the Springfield Township Middle School track and field restoration project. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? I just wanted to ask one question. If you could remind the board that we came in under budget for some specific reasons attached to the project, and I just want to be more clear on the source of funds for accelerating this part of the project.
Absolutely. And I might ask Ms. Green to help a little bit with that. But to go back to Winter and Spring Property Committee, we had originally planned to do the full track, the rubberizing of the track surface, the goalposts, the long jump pit, a high jump area, and shot put circle. And that's what we had discussed at a property committee meeting.
Concrete stands as well.
Thank you. And the concrete stands. And initially, when we looked at that, we were concerned about interfering with fall athletic season, in particular the fall football season. So we peeled back some of the project components with the idea that we would do those either next spring or summer at the conclusion of the track and field season. But the team has worked really well. I don't know if Mr. Thorne wants to comment at all on Schlau, but they've done a phenomenal job this summer and they're ahead of schedule. So we felt we could get these components done in advance of the first home football game. And so they're going to be on track. They've committed to us that they will make sure that that happens. Our football team is practicing on the upper field at the left field of the baseball area until the goalposts are in and the long jump pit is done. We're going to hold off until either winter or following the track season, depending on how the weather goes for us. And we can talk about that at fall property committee. We could either proceed with those other three components, or we could wait until the conclusion of the track and field season next spring. But either way, it's our goal to have these done in the next calendar year. And I'll ask Ms. Green to answer the budget question.
Sure. If you remember last year, we did a little bit under a $10 million borrowing. That was the first of a long-term plan for some summer projects, which included the high school roof, the middle school renovation, the Erdenheim ramp, and the start of the middle school renovation project. So that was phase one. As Dr. Yannicone said, originally the scope of work for the middle school field renovation included all of the items, including the two we're asking for the change order. So the funding was originally there for the entire scope of the project. So the funds are available to accommodate this change order.
And just to follow up, which I believe I know the answer to, since I was involved in these discussions on property committee, we plan to move forward with these under, it was just a deferring to avoid interference. And we know for almost certain, given inflation and labor costs, that if we defer, it will be more expensive to do it a year from now than it would be to do it immediately.
Yes, and in particular, the conversation we had last week with the company was the rubberizing of the track surface and bringing out that equipment to do that piece of the job, being able to do the long jump runway at the same time and do the excavation that's required, because we're actually relocating the long jump area. This might be getting a little bit into the weeds, but we're shifting from an H frame goalpost to a Y frame goalpost. And as a result, we need to move the long jump runway and pit. And so doing all that at the same time gives us economy of and efficiency over the project, which absolutely will reduce the cost relative to doing it later.
Sure.
How'd I do?
Awesome. Thank you very much for the added detail.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions? Great. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, let's get those H frames out of there.
I said that H was for hacker and the Y is for Yannick. All respect to my brothers.
All right, with that, we'll see if Dr. Hacker's on for public comment. We'll move into public comment on non-agenda items, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Needleman.
Thank you, Mr. Doctor. We'll move now to comments on non-agenda items. If anyone has a comment on a non-agenda items, now is the time, of course. I don't see anyone has signed up to speak in person. So I'm going to ask, as before, anyone who's joining us online, please raise your hand if you want to speak. And again, I'll just remind folks, we do have a 3-minute time limit, and I'll ask you to identify where you live in the township. And I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, all right, well, thank you for those who attended the first back to school board meeting. I appreciate everybody making the time. And I'm excited to work with the board again this year. Just a few more announcements on future meeting dates. We have an interim board meeting, which will be happening on Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. We'll continue to hold these meetings hybrid. For those who want to attend in person, we are here in the middle school Audion, which is located next to the cafeteria. We also have our next regular board meeting on Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. Again, this will continue to be hybrid. We have a committee meeting coming up. Academic Affairs will meet on Monday, September 11th, 2023 at 5 p.m. This is a fully virtual meeting with details on how to log in and register for that meeting on the district website. And with that, we will adjourn for this evening. Thank you, everyone, again, for your attendance and engagement, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks.